So Canon just announced the brand new R8 and the R50, and honestly, these cameras could not have come out at a worse time. See, selfishly, I'm working on a video where I'm testing all of Canon's current RF mounted cameras, and releasing these two new cameras completely throws a wrench in my video making process. However, these two cameras still might be the most important cameras that Canon has ever released. So first, let's kick things off with the R8. Now, with the R8, you are getting a 24 megapixel camera, and this sensor actually happens to be the exact same sensor that's in this guy. This is the R6 Mark II. Along with not just sharing the same sensor, it also shares a lot of the same specs. The ability to shoot in 4K at up to 60 frames per second, uncropped. It also shares the ability to shoot in C-Log 3, which is 10-bit, and it can even shoot at up to 180 frames per second slow motion. That, plus the addition of the same autofocus features from this camera in the R8, really makes the R8 stand out as a very special camera, especially because the price is $1,000 cheaper than this guy. But the comparisons don't stop there. When it comes to photography, this camera can shoot at up to 40 photos a second. That is a mind-boggling amount of photos, especially because currently Canon's high-end R3 can only shoot at up to 30 photos a second. So you take that, you add in the fact that it has the digital hot shoe, and at only $14.99, this camera is screaming for a full frame camera, right? Well, that's kind of true, but then there's also this other camera that Canon announced not too long ago, the R7, and currently they share the same price. Now, when you see two cameras from the same manufacturer that have the exact same price, the first thing you're gonna think is, well, why? And really, what's the difference? Why are they the same price? And the only way that I can really wrap my head around understanding this is with an analogy. When you look at the R7 and the R8, personally, I look at them like cars. Let's take the R7 for example. The R7 is like buying a Camry, but not just any Camry. This is a Camry that is fully spec'd out. It has all of the upgrades, the upgraded interior, the upgraded sound system, custom paint job, the touchscreen infotainment system. You got the better wheels and tires. This is a Camry that is fully decked out. But then you compare that to a Lexus like the R8. However, this is your baseline Lexus. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles, but at the end of the day, it's still a Lexus. And that's kind of the way I see these two cameras. I mean, the R7 is going to give you IBIS, no record limit, a bigger, better battery, dual card slots. You're also gonna get that joystick, and just like that Camry, yes, it is technically a crop sensor camera, but it is giving you 7K downsampled instead of, like on the R8, you're getting 6K downsampled. So I know what you might be thinking then. Well, if the R7 is giving you all this stuff and the R8 isn't, then does this mean that a crop sensor camera is better than the full frame camera? And this is not necessarily the case, because there are certain things that full frame can give you that crop cameras just can't. For example, in my journey as a filmmaker, there were many, many years that I spent shooting real estate video. And no matter how many cameras I tried working with, no matter how many different sensors I tried shooting with, I always found myself gravitating back to full frame cameras. Having the ability to shoot wide angle with wide angle lenses and with that full frame sensor was just a must for my needs as a real estate photographer. And this might be the same case for you, even if you're just shooting wildlife. That said, full frame is definitely the way to go with real estate. However, the cost to get involved with real estate and shoot wide angle with a full frame lens was easily a $5,000 investment when you were trying to get started. And this is where this R8 is really gonna shine, because this camera is only $1,500, but it gives you all the amazing video and photo specs that you get out of the R6. You now get a full frame camera that's only $1,500. You pair that with a lens like the 14-35 RF lens, which is a fantastic wide angle zoom lens. Now for $3,000, you have a fantastic full frame kit. Plus, Now, because gimbals have gotten so much cheaper, you just add in a $500 budget for a decent gimbal, and you can be out there shooting real estate videos right now for only $3,500. And to just add a little bit on top, I actually made an entire video talking about how you can make over $3,000 a week shooting real estate video. And so with that math, if you watch that video, buy this gear, and implement those strategies, you can start seeing a return on your investment in as little as 2 weeks. Now, full transparency, when it comes to shooting real estate video, there is a lot more that goes into it, which is the reason why I did create an entire training course around how to shoot real estate video. But if you are someone who's thinking about buying the R8 and you want to find a way to start making some money with this camera, because let's face it, cameras are very expensive, then I do strongly recommend checking out that real estate guide. But if you go to the Creative Fam Academy, you not only get a chance to see that guide, but you can see all of my content that teaches all of the business and all the different techniques and ways for you to start making money using your camera. So I'll have that linked down below, because trust me, this R8 is going to be a killer camera when it comes to using it in professional environments. Now, at the beginning of this video, I mentioned that the R50 and the R8 are probably two of Canon's most important cameras that they've ever announced. And that is because positionally where they find themselves. See, the R50 actually finds itself as the new entry point, not only for Canon as a whole, but as a new entry point for Canon's RF mounted crop sensor cameras. And the R8 is kind of in the same boat, but when it comes to full frame. See, over the last couple of weeks, I've been testing out all of Canon's current lineup of cameras, and I'm finding some really interesting things that I'm gonna save most of them for the future video. But I do want to talk about a couple of them right now, because I do think it's going to really lean into what this R8 and this R50 are really going to do. For example, when you look at this lineup of cameras, you have the R3, which is currently the top dog on Canon's list, and then you have the R5 as a very close second. Next to that, you have your R6, and for most people, this lineup here of full frame cameras seems to be fairly complete. However, let's face it, the R6 is a very expensive camera at $2,500, and so by offering a new camera at only $1,500 for full frame, you can now start to get your toes wet with full frame without breaking the bank. And the same thing is true when you start looking at the crop sensor cameras. There's no doubt that the R7 is a fantastic crop sensor camera, especially for the price. However, we understand that at $1,500, this might be a lot for a lot of people, and that's originally why Canon introduced the R10, but let's face it, this camera still comes in at almost $1,000, and to save just a little bit more, it's gonna be super helpful for those people who are trying to move in from an iPhone or any other cell phone. And so with the new R50 giving you so many internal components that make it easy to pretty much just shoot in auto like most people do with their phones, you now have a fantastic camera that you can buy and start using RF lenses with in order to get the right shot that you're looking for. Now, sure, there's not as many third-party lenses available. However, Canon has done a fantastic job of coming out with quite a good lineup of lenses already. And let's remember, these cameras all came out within the last 2 to 3 years. Now, obviously, these two new cameras being announced is gonna shake up the video that I'm currently working on. So Canon, if you're watching this, if you can send out the R8 and the R50, I would love to add it to this video, because this video that I'm currently working on is going to literally see all of these cameras being shot up against each other side by side. And I would love to have these two new cameras added into the mix. Now, before we jump out of here, I want to quickly thank all the members over at the Creative Fam Academy. Seriously, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for making videos like this happen. We are currently in the process of trying to make that membership even better. One, we are upgrading the community page, so be on the lookout for that really soon. But also, we are now going to be posting all of our YouTube videos to our community members earlier. So that way you guys can check them out. No ads, no integrations, just for you. So thank you guys again for watching this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.